She was just 14 years old when they dressed her in silk and jewels and sent her to become Queen of France. They told her to smile, to spend, to dazzle the world with luxury. And she did, so magnificently that it cost a kingdom its future. One necklace, one decision, one scandal that would help ignite a revolution and send a queen to the guillotine. This is the story of Marie Antoinette, the girl who became a symbol of excess and the choice that sealed her fate. Your subscription gives us strength to keep telling stories that reveal the humanity behind history's most fascinating figures. Subscribe for more untold stories from history. Comment below, do you think Marie Antoinette was a villain or a victim? Now, let me tell you the whole story.
Vienna, 1770. Maria Antonia Josepha Johanna, later known as Marie Antoinette, was the 15th child of Empress Maria Theresa of Austria. She was not supposed to matter much in the grand scheme of things. Too far down the line of succession, too young to be politically useful. Until she wasn't. At 14, Marie Antoinette's entire world changed with a single announcement. She would marry the Dauphin of France, the future King Louis XVI. It was a political alliance, a bridge between two rival empires. No one asked Marie Antoinette what she wanted. No one cared. They stripped her of everything Austrian, her clothes, her belongings, even her beloved pug, and dressed her in French silks. They changed her name, her identity, her very essence. The message was clear. You are no longer Austrian. You are France now. The carriage ride to Versailles took days. Marie Antoinette sat in silence, watching the Austrian countryside fade behind her, replaced by French forests and villages. She was leaving behind her mother, her siblings, everything she'd ever known. Remember, her mother had told her at their final goodbye, tears streaming down both their faces. You must make them love you, charm them, be gracious. Never forget you represent Austria. It was an impossible task for a teenage girl. When she arrived at Versailles, Marie Antoinette was overwhelmed. The palace was like nothing she'd ever seen. Endless halls of mirrors and gold, thousands of courtiers dressed in elaborate wigs and gowns, all watching her with calculating eyes. And then there was Louis. Her future husband was 15, awkward, heavy-set, with a passion for locks and hunting rather than courtly life. Their wedding night was a disaster, a humiliation that would haunt their marriage for 7 years. Louis couldn't or wouldn't consummate the marriage. Night after night, Marie Antoinette lay in her elaborate bed alone, while the entire court whispered and speculated. The pressure was unbearable. Why is there no heir? The courtiers muttered. What is wrong with her? Perhaps the Austrian is barren. Perhaps she's cursed. Marie Antoinette heard every whisper. And with no husband to turn to, no children to occupy her time, she did what any lonely, scared teenager with unlimited resources would do. She spent money. At first it was innocent enough. New dresses, elaborate hairstyles that reached 3 feet high, decorated with feathers, ships, and even miniature gardens. Jewelry, gambling, parties that lasted until dawn. The French court had always been extravagant, but Marie Antoinette took it to new heights. She had an innate sense of style, a flair for drama that captivated some and horrified others. Madame Deficit, they started calling her behind her back. But Marie Antoinette didn't hear them, or if she did, she didn't care. Shopping and parties were her escape from a loveless marriage, from the crushing weight of expectations, from the constant scrutiny of thousands of eyes watching her every move. Her closest advisor, the Duchesse de Polignac, encouraged her excess. You are the Dauphine, she would say, draping another diamond necklace around Marie Antoinette's neck. You should have everything you desire. And Marie Antoinette believed her. By 1774, when Louis XV died and her husband became King Louis XVI, making her Queen of France at just 19, Marie Antoinette's reputation was already tarnished. The Austrian, the spendthrift, the frivolous queen who cared more about fashion than France. But the worst was yet to come, because in 1785, a scandal would erupt that would forever cement her image as the enemy of the French people. A scandal involving a necklace, and a decision that would help bankrupt a nation.
The affair of the diamond necklace began with extraordinary jewels and ended with a queen's reputation in ruins. The necklace in question was magnificent, a creation of 647 diamonds weighing 2,800 carats, designed by the court jewelers Boehmer and Bossinger. It had originally been commissioned for Madame du Barry, the mistress of Louis XV, but the king died before it could be completed. Now the jewelers were desperate. They had spent a fortune creating this masterpiece, and they needed to sell it. They approached Marie Antoinette multiple times. "Your Majesty," Boehmer pleaded during one audience, "this necklace was made for royalty, for beauty such as yours. It costs 1.6 million livres, but for you—" "Monsieur Boehmer," Marie Antoinette interrupted, her voice sharp, "France needs ships more than I need diamonds. Take your necklace elsewhere." It was one of the few financially responsible decisions she would ever make, but it wouldn't matter, because someone else was planning to acquire that necklace, using Marie Antoinette's name without her knowledge. Enter Anne de Valois Saint-Remy, the Comtesse de la Motte. She was a con artist of exceptional talent, a woman who claimed royal blood but lived in poverty. She had managed to befriend Marie Antoinette's circle, or so she claimed, and she saw an opportunity in the desperate jewelers and an even more desperate admirer of the queen. Cardinal de Rohan was a powerful nobleman who had fallen from Marie Antoinette's favor years earlier. He was desperate to regain her good graces, so desperate that he became the perfect mark for Jean's scheme. Jean approached the cardinal with a proposition that seemed too good to be true, because it was. "The queen wishes to purchase the diamond necklace," she told him in hushed tones, "but she cannot do so publicly. The political climate is too delicate. She needs an intermediary, someone she can trust, someone like you, Your Eminence." The cardinal's eyes lit up. This was his chance to win back the queen's favor. "She's asked for me specifically?" he asked, hardly believing his fortune. "She speaks of you often," Jean lied smoothly. "She regrets the distance between you. This would be your redemption." What followed was an elaborate con involving forged letters, supposedly from Marie Antoinette, and even a midnight meeting in the gardens of Versailles, where the cardinal met someone he believed was the queen. Actually, a prostitute named Nicole Leguay, who resembled Marie Antoinette in the darkness. "You have my gratitude," the fake queen whispered, handing him a rose before disappearing into the shadows. The cardinal was convinced. He agreed to guarantee the purchase of the necklace, believing he was doing so on the queen's behalf. The jewelers, thrilled to finally sell their masterpiece, handed over the necklace to Jeanne, who claimed she would deliver it to Marie Antoinette. Instead, Jeanne and her husband broke up the necklace and sold the diamonds individually across Europe. 6 months later, when the jewelers approached the queen expecting their first payment, the truth exploded. "What payment?" asked Marie Antoinette, confused. "What necklace?" "The diamond necklace, Your Majesty," Boehmer said, equally confused. "The one Cardinal de Rohan purchased on your behalf." Marie Antoinette's face went white. "I authorized no such purchase. I refused that necklace multiple times." The scandal erupted like a bomb across France. The cardinal was arrested. Jean was captured and interrogated. The whole sordid tale came out. the forgeries, the midnight garden meeting, the con. But here's where Marie Antoinette made her fatal mistake. Louis XVI wanted to handle the matter discreetly, quietly, but Marie Antoinette, humiliated and furious that her name had been used in such a scheme, insisted on a public trial. "I want my name cleared," she told Louis, her eyes flashing with anger. "I want everyone to know I had nothing to do with this fraud." "My dear," Louis said gently, "a public trial will only make things worse. People will talk. They will speculate. Let them talk. I am innocent." It was the wrong decision. The trial became a sensation. Every detail was reported in pamphlets and gossip sheets. And as the story spread, something unexpected happened. The public sided against the Queen. It didn't matter that she was innocent. It didn't matter that she'd been the victim of an elaborate fraud. The French people saw a queen who lived in luxury while they starved. They saw a woman who spent fortunes on dresses and gambling. They saw Madame Deficit, and they believed she was guilty. The cardinal was acquitted. Jean was convicted, but the sentence seemed too light: branding and imprisonment. She would later escape to London and publish vicious memoirs full of lies about Marie Antoinette. But the real damage was to the Queen's reputation. The pamphlets turned vicious. Pornographic cartoons circulated showing Marie Antoinette in compromising positions. Songs mocked her. The Austrian bitch, the whore queen. Marie Antoinette was devastated. "I am innocent," she told her lady-in-waiting, the Princess de Lamballe, tears streaming down her face. "Why does no one believe me?" "Because they want someone to blame, Your Majesty, and you are an easy target." The affair of the diamond necklace didn't bankrupt France. Years of war and structural economic problems did that. But it bankrupted something more valuable: the people's faith in their queen. And when revolution came, that faith deficit would prove impossible to overcome. The woman who never touched the necklace would pay the highest price for its scandal. And the guillotine was waiting. After the diamond necklace affair, Marie Antoinette tried to change. She truly did. She withdrew from public life, spending more time with her children at the Petit Trianon, her private estate within Versailles. She wore simpler dresses. She cut back on gambling and parties. But it was too late. The damage was done. "Let them eat cake," the pamphlets claimed she said, when told the people had no bread. She never said those words. They were attributed to various aristocrats for decades before her. But it didn't matter. The story fit the narrative too perfectly. Meanwhile, France was collapsing. Years of supporting the American Revolution had emptied the treasury. Crop failures led to bread shortages. The tax system was broken, with the nobility and clergy exempt while peasants starved. Marie Antoinette watched with growing dread as the political situation deteriorated. "Louis, you must do something," she urged her husband. "Reform the tax system. Call the Estates General. Something." But Louis XVI was indecisive by nature. He delayed, compromised, backtracked. Every decision came too late or went too far. He satisfied no one. On July 14, 1789, the Bastille fell. The revolution had begun. Marie Antoinette stood at the window of Versailles, watching smoke rise from Paris. She held her youngest son, Louis Charles, close to her chest. "What will happen to us?" she whispered. No one had an answer. The royal family was forced to leave Versailles, moved to the Tuileries Palace in Paris, where they were essentially prisoners. The opulence of Versailles was replaced by hostile crowds outside their windows, chanting for their deaths. "A la lanterne," they shouted, "to the lamppost," meaning hang them. Marie Antoinette showed surprising courage during this period. The frivolous queen transformed into a lioness protecting her family. She corresponded with foreign powers, begging for help. She plotted escapes,
In June 1791, the family attempted to flee France in disguise. The flight to Varennes was meticulously planned. They would escape to the border, meet loyal troops, and either reclaim the throne or go into exile. But Marie Antoinette made a crucial mistake. She insisted on bringing too much: trunks of clothes, personal items. The heavy carriage moved slowly. They stopped too often. At Varennes, just 50 kilometers from the border in safety, they were recognized. "That's the Queen," someone shouted. "That's the face from the money." They were arrested and brought back to Paris in humiliation. Any remaining goodwill for the royal family evaporated. "You tried to abandon us. You tried to bring foreign armies to kill us." The moderate phase of the revolution was over. The radicals took control. In August 1792, the Tuileries Palace was stormed. The Swiss guards were massacred. The royal family fled to the National Assembly for protection, but it was futile. The monarchy was abolished. Louis XVI was no longer king. He was now citizen Louis Capet, a prisoner awaiting trial. Marie Antoinette watched helplessly as they took her husband away. "Be strong," she told him, kissing his hands. "For the children, be strong." Louis XVI's trial was brief. The verdict was predetermined. On January 21, 1793, he was executed by guillotine. Marie Antoinette heard the cannon fire that signaled his death. She collapsed, her children clinging to her. "They killed Papa," her daughter Maria Therese sobbed. "I know, my darling, I know." But her ordeal was just beginning. They took her son away first. Louis Charles, just 8 years old, was removed from her arms and given to a cobbler to be re-educated, meaning brutalized and taught to denounce her mother. "Please," Marie Antoinette screamed, fighting the guards. "He's just a child. Please don't take my son." But they ripped him from her grasp. Then they came for her. In August 1793, Marie Antoinette was transferred to the Conciliérie prison, a dank, dark cell with a straw mattress and a bucket. The woman who had slept in silk sheets now shivered on stone floors. She was 47 years old, but looked 70. Her famous blonde hair had turned completely white. She had constant hemorrhaging from gynecological problems. She was dying slowly, painfully. Her trial in October 1793 was a farce. They accused her of everything: treason, conspiracy, financial crimes, and then they added one more charge, so vile that it made her rise from her chair in fury. They accused her of sexually abusing her own son. The cobbler had forced little Louis Charles to sign a statement claiming his mother had molested him. "I appeal to all mothers," Marie Antoinette said, her voice ringing through the courtroom, "to say whether such a crime is possible." It was the only moment during the trial that the crowd was silenced, but it changed nothing. The verdict was guilty. The sentence was death. On October 16, 1793, at dawn, they came for Marie Antoinette. She dressed in a simple white dress. They cut her hair short for the guillotine. They bound her hands behind her back, something they hadn't even done to Louis XVI, and paraded her through Paris in an open cart so the crowds could mock her. Marie Antoinette sat straight, her head high, refusing to give them the satisfaction of seeing her break. At the Place de Révolution, she climbed the scaffold with dignity. Her last words, after accidentally stepping on the executioner's foot, were, "Pardon me, sir. I did not do it on purpose." Even at the end, she was polite. The blade fell at 12:15 p.m. The woman who had been blamed for bankrupting France, who had been vilified and dehumanized, who had become a symbol of everything wrong with the old regime, she was gone. But was she really the villain they claimed? Or was she simply a girl who was thrown into an impossible situation and made the mistakes of youth, inexperience, and bad advice? Marie Antoinette's story didn't end with her death. In many ways, it was just beginning.
because the woman who died in 1793 was not the woman history would remember. Instead, she became a myth, a cautionary tale about excess, privilege, and the dangers of being out of touch with reality. But was that myth accurate? Let's examine the facts. Did Marie Antoinette's spending bankrupt France? No. France's financial crisis was caused by decades of expensive wars, particularly supporting the American Revolution, combined with a broken tax system that exempted the wealthy and a series of bad harvests. Marie Antoinette's personal spending, while excessive, was a tiny fraction of the national budget. The diamond necklace affair, which destroyed her reputation, was literally a fraud in which she was the victim. She never bought the necklace, she never even saw it, yet she paid the ultimate price for it. Did she say, "Let them eat cake"? No! That phrase was attributed to various princesses for decades before Marie Antoinette. It was propaganda, pure and simple. Was she a traitor who wanted to bring foreign armies to destroy France? This is more complicated. Yes, she corresponded with her family in Austria. Yes, she hoped for foreign intervention, but she was also watching her husband and children threatened with death daily. What mother wouldn't seek help anywhere she could find it? The truth is, Marie Antoinette was a teenager who was sent to a foreign country, married to a man she didn't love who couldn't fulfill his marital duties, surrounded by sycophants and bad advisors with unlimited access to money and no guidance on how to use it responsibly. She made mistakes. Absolutely. Her early spending was irresponsible. Her insistence on a public trial for the necklace affair was a catastrophic error in judgment. Her attempt to flee France confirmed people's worst suspicions. But did those mistakes deserve the guillotine? In her final letter, written hours before her execution to her sister-in-law, Madame Elizabeth, Marie Antoinette showed the woman she had become. "I die innocent of all the crimes of which I have been charged. I pardon those who have brought about my death, and I pray that the blood you are about to shed may never be visited upon France." The frivolous teenager had become a mother willing to die for her children. The spendthrift queen had learned the true cost of excess. The naive girl had gained wisdom, too late to save herself. After her death, public opinion slowly began to shift. Within a few years, even some revolutionaries admitted the trial had been unjust. Napoleon, when he came to power, restored some dignity to her memory. Her daughter, Marie Thérèse, the only survivor of the immediate royal family, spent her life trying to rehabilitate her mother's reputation. Her son, Louis Charles, died in prison at age 10 from neglect and abuse, a tragedy that haunted France's conscience. Today, Marie Antoinette remains controversial. Some see her as a symbol of aristocratic decadence who got what she deserved. Others see her as a victim of misogyny, propaganda, and political scapegoating. But perhaps the truth is somewhere in between. She was a human being. Flawed, yes, but human. And sometimes, that's the most revolutionary thing you can be. What do you think? Was Marie Antoinette a victim of her circumstances or the architect of her own downfall? Share your thoughts in the comments. Subscribe for more untold stories from history that reveal the complex truth behind the legends. Turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Your subscription gives us strength to keep telling stories that reveal the humanity behind history's most fascinating figures. See you in the next story.